The rain fell like shattered glass from the sky that night, cold, relentless, unforgiving. Daniel Carter, a tired single father with a worn-out jacket clinging to his back, pushed his old bicycle through the narrow alley as the clock blinked past midnight. He had just finished a double shift at the auto shop, his hands still greasy, his shoulders heavy, his heart heavier. His only thought was getting home to his sleeping daughter before dawn. But fate had other plans. Because in that same alley, drenched in the downpour, trembling as if the darkness itself had swallowed her whole, sat a woman in a torn dress, one who looked completely out of place in the shadows of poverty. And this was the night everything in Daniel's life would change forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing good even when no one is watching, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. Your support truly helps stories like these reach more hearts. Daniel hesitated for only a second before rushing toward her. The woman's hair stuck to her pale face, her eyes wide with fear, and her lips shivering uncontrollably. She looked as if she had run miles through the storm. Daniel pulled off his jacket without thinking twice, placing it around her shoulders despite the freezing air biting his own skin. He had nothing extra to offer, no money, no car, no comfort beyond compassion, but he offered it anyway. As he guided her under a street lamp, he noticed her barefoot, clutching her stomach as if hunger had been a long, merciless companion. Without thinking, he unwrapped a small bundle from his bag, a single croissant he had brought home for his daughter's breakfast. His heart twisted. But he placed it into the woman's trembling hands. Hunger didn't care who you were. The woman ate slowly, almost painfully, as if each bite grounded her back into reality. Daniel didn't ask questions. He didn't ask who she was, where she came from, or why she sat alone in the rain at midnight. Not because he wasn't curious, because he believed people deserved dignity before answers. His entire life had been a battle he fought quietly. His wife had passed 5 years earlier, leaving him to raise an infant daughter alone. Jobs came and went, bills rose like mountains, and nights like this, soaked, exhausted, drained, were the norm. But he had promised himself one thing: he would show his daughter what kindness looked like, no matter how dark the world seemed. As he helped the woman stand, she leaned against him for balance. Her breathing calmed, her fear faded, and for a moment, she simply stared at Daniel with an unreadable expression in her eyes, something between disbelief and gratitude, almost as if she was studying him. But Daniel didn't notice. He simply offered to walk her to the nearest main street where there'd be better lighting and passing taxis. She held onto his arm with surprising gentleness, as if she wasn't used to being helped, as if human warmth was unfamiliar territory. When he finally got her into a cab, she looked at him one last time through the blurred raindrops. There were tears in her eyes, not of fear now, but something deeper. Daniel didn't realize it yet, but she knew exactly who he was. She had been looking for him for months. The next morning felt like any other. Daniel made oatmeal for his daughter using half the packet to make it last the week, tied her shoelaces with hands roughened by years of labor, and sent her to school with a forced smile hiding the ache of unpaid rent. He rode to work on his squeaky bicycle, unaware that the city was buzzing with news, unaware that the woman he rescued was on every financial screen across the country. She wasn't homeless. She wasn't helpless. She was Elena Ford, the billionaire heiress known for investing in projects that lifted struggling families. And she had disappeared the previous night, fleeing from an attempted kidnapping tied to corporate sabotage. The police found her unharmed hours later. The world assumed she was rescued by security teams. But she knew the truth: a stranger had saved her. A stranger who had given away his daughter's breakfast. A stranger who had protected her without knowing her worth. Daniel's world remained unchanged until lunchtime, when 3 black cars rolled into the small auto shop, sending whispers through the mechanic crew. Men in suits stepped out first, but the one who emerged last froze every breath in the air: Elena Ford herself. She walked directly toward Daniel, and for a moment he didn't recognize her without the rain, the fear, the exhaustion. But her eyes, They were the same eyes that had stared at him from the cab window, filled with something unsaid. Before he could ask who she was or why she was here, Elena spoke gently, her voice firm yet emotional. She thanked him for saving her life. Daniel shook his head awkwardly, saying it was just the right thing to do. But Elena wasn't finished. She asked him about his life. And though Daniel tried to keep it simple, she saw through his humility like glass. She saw the scraped knuckles, the faded clothes, the exhaustion behind his smile. She saw a man who gave even when he barely had enough for himself. And in that moment, Elena made a decision. 2 days later, Daniel was called into the office of the auto shop owner. He walked in nervous, expecting bad news. Instead, he found Elena sitting there again, this time with paperwork, documents, and an offer. She wanted to fund the opening of a brand new automotive business under Daniel's name. She wanted to give him stable income, training programs, health benefits, and a future he never thought he could claim. She had one reason: you saved me without knowing who I was. Now let me help you without letting you feel small. It felt unreal. Daniel's hands trembled as he held the papers. But what made his eyes burn with tears wasn't the money. It was imagining telling his daughter she would never go hungry again. That their rent would be paid. That her future could finally feel bright instead of uncertain. Elena visited often as the shop opened. She watched Daniel grow into a leader, watched his staff multiply, watched his life transform piece by piece. And every time he thanked her, she reminded him it started because he chose kindness in the dark, when no one was watching. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us goodness still exists. Before the story ends, please comment below: kindness can change a life. Because one midnight, in the pouring rain, a poor single dad changed not just a billionaire's life, but his own.